So I'm going to go through what I did at university and how that helped me to get the job I've got now and the job previous to that, which I'm going to explain. Okay, so my time at university. So I was on sports marketing and PR course between 2008 and 2011. So I nearly left 4 years ago, which is a little bit scary looking at you all here. I'm quite jealous, I have to say. So yeah, while I was at Leeds, there were so many opportunities offered to me by the university that I wouldn't have had access to probably anywhere else, I have to say. So more importantly, without those opportunities, I wouldn't be in the job that I'm in now, and I wouldn't have got the job out of university that I did. So it is really important when those opportunities come about that if you are interested in them, you do sort of take them and do with them as much as you can, because sort of I'm testament to if you do, then you know you can be in the field that you want to be in and progress. So some of them came out of employment. So I worked here at the university as a student ambassador from my first year, which is a brilliant programme. I'm assuming it's still here. So I worked with groups of young people about educating them about university, and then I moved on from that job to become a team leader at big events such as graduations, open days, which provided me with really great skills in terms of events, if any of you are looking at events or on the spot problem solving, because those kind of events will definitely give you those skills. There's a lot of people around and there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong, so you have to sort of get on with it and make sure that you get everything right. Moving on from that, while I was at university, in my third year, I got the opportunity to interview for Sky Bet. Sky Bet have got a head office here in Leeds, and they were looking for content exec part-time. And me and one of my best friends, who still actually works at Sky Bet, who now looks after their Super Six and fantasy football programmes, we gained employment with them, and I worked there part-time in my third year. Which was a fantastic experience. I wouldn't have got that opportunity to interview for them without this course and without this university. It wasn't something that they were offering to everybody. It was a partnership that they were offering here, and I believe that they're expanding at the moment as well. So if you do get the opportunity to sort of look what they're about, then I would recommend you do that. It's great to learn more about sport generally. And they used to give us a certain amount that we had to bet every month to make sure that we knew what was going on in each sport. So that was a fantastic experience, and I learned so much about the digital aspect of stuff, which I use every day in my job now. So that was definitely something while I was here that was offered to me that I've taken on. As part of my workplace learning module, which some of you will have done, some of you won't yet, I actually went to Leeds Rugby, and I worked in the marketing team there for my placement. I know you've obviously heard from Jamie, and you'll be hearing from Gary Hetherington in a while. And after my module ended, they asked me to stay on and actually employed me all the way through until I left and got a graduate job. So it was a brilliant environment to be in. That sports entity is absolutely fantastic when it comes to commercial marketing. They are brilliant at what they do, not just through rugby league, but the stuff they do with the union and with the cricket all together. If you get a chance to have experience at that organisation, you should grab it with both hands, because it is a fantastic organisation to work for and be involved with. I made some friends for life, which I sort of will see whenever I'm up here in Leeds, and also it just extended my knowledge of what I was doing in my everyday modules. So the sponsorship module, for example, it just made everything a lot clearer because you were using those principles every day. I think one of the modules I just mentioned, the sponsorship module, was a module that was really useful to me at university. You get real life scenarios which you don't get at every university. We are exceptionally lucky to be at a university that gives us those real life scenarios with real companies that you can talk to. Having that application of real knowledge doesn't happen at every university. So don't take that for granted, because you are sort of getting special treatment, I guess, because you don't get it everywhere. So take that with both hands, and that sponsorship module in year 2 is if sponsorship is something that you're interested in, it's a fantastic module, because I used it in my job that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. I used it so much. Writing that real life sponsorship proposal helped me get a number of sponsors on board for the organisation that I used to work for. And obviously, some of you I don't know, but last year, while I was with England Golf, we actually put the scenarios together for you guys for that module. So if anybody ever needs any help with that one, then give me a call, because I can do it inside out. I think the last one, and perhaps the most important that I'll talk a little bit more about later on, is my MIS. Don't get me wrong, it's 3 modules and it's daunting. Is it 3 modules still?
2.
2 modules. It's still daunting. It's still a lot of words. But it's really important because I did my MIS in partnership with England Netball on the loyalty of a consumer. So whether the people paying their affiliation every year pay because they have an affiliation to the netball brand, or whether they pay because it means they can play every week. And having worked in 2 governing bodies since that, that's something that's a skill that I was able to offer before I even went to get a job. I had that skill already, and that was a skill that both my jobs wanted, that I didn't have to go out and get voluntary work experience for, because I'd already done it while I was at university. So I use it every day. So it's important when you're thinking about your MIS to think about something that you are really interested in. And if you don't know what you want to go and do, fair enough. I was quite lucky because I knew exactly what route I wanted to go and do. But really think about it in terms of, am I going to be able to gain skills that I can then go and use outside in the wider world? So moving on to my career so far. I'm afraid it's not as exciting as Jamie Peacock's. So I got my first graduate job actually on the day I handed my dissertation in my 3rd year, which you can imagine was a pretty exciting night after that one. They were looking for a marketing exec for what was the English Golf Union. It was based over in Woodhall Spa in Lincolnshire, and I was in the middle of writing my dissertation. My sister called me and said, I've seen this job that you'd be perfect for, you should definitely apply for it. And I was really annoyed with her that I'd had to take a morning out of writing my dissertation to apply, but it was the best thing I ever did, because I was offered an interview, and then, as I say, the day that I handed my dissertation in, I found out that I got the job. So within a week of finishing my last exam, I'd started a brand new job in a place of work that was all about what I'd been doing for 3 years, which is just fantastic. So after I got there, 3 months after, we merged with another organisation, and we went through a full rebrand, including a name change to England Golf. And I acquired just some fantastic skills in terms of, I did a brand new website with them twice, we rebranded, and I took on deputising for the department. I then took on the sponsorship role, so my efforts were specifically looking at managing the sponsorship accounts that we had and bringing in new sponsors. So all of those threads of things that I was doing, I'd already done either in the experience I'd got in my job or in one of the modules, or both. So it wasn't as daunting as it could have been. You weren't learning from absolutely ground zero, you'd got something to work with. So moving on from that, I took on the events that they do, the promotion of those, and after just over 3 years, it was time for a new challenge. So I'm currently at Basketball England. So I started there in August of last year. It's a big challenge. The organisation is in a huge governance change at the moment. We've just actually rebranded from England Basketball to Basketball England, and we're having a brand new database and website and all of that done at the moment. So some of the skills that I've had from before, but some of them not so much, because now I am responsible for that marketing those marketing efforts, and I'm driving that, so I'm gaining the more management side of it and the management skills, so that when that department does develop, I'm able to sort of come on board and lead that going forward. I'm also in the process of putting together a new mission statement, vision and values project for the organisation, which on the surface sounds a little bit boring, and that you put it on paper and that's it. But the process that we've been through has been really interesting in terms of getting everybody in the organisation involved and buying into what that mission should be like. So that mission of what is the purpose of that organisation, the vision of if we achieve success, what does that look like? And then those values of what are our shared ways of working to be able to do our jobs to get to where we want to go. And to be able to lead that project, I don't think I would have been able to do without all that previous experience that I gained at the various jobs that I had while I was at university, and the course that I was on obviously provided those opportunities for me to get there. So I guess that brings me on to my goals. I've always been quite an ambitious individual, I suppose, and Basketball England will allow me to sort of start from scratch and build that and build it up, build that department and get better at what we do in terms of marketing activity, whether it's sponsorship activities for somebody that's coming on board, whether that's a new kit supplier that's just come on board. How do we speak to them? How do we speak to all of our different audiences? That's something about a governing body is they have so many different audiences, whether it's parents or club officials or players, and it's about targeting that communication to be able to speak to them effectively and get what you want out of them so that they've got the best experience as well. So Basketball England is allowing me to do that, combined with the more leadership role, and hopefully moving forward we'll be able to carry on and get a department full of people. So when you all graduate, feel free to give me a call because we might be hiring. So moving on finally to my advice to you. I've littered it through the presentation, but just to sort of summarise, utilise all your work-based opportunities. That's one thing that I really can't stress enough. The opportunities that you're provided with are absolutely fantastic here at this university. So go and speak to your tutors. I'm sure that when there are opportunities, the tutors will be shouting them at you. So if it's something that you find interesting, or even if it's something that you think, you know what, that'd look great on my CV, I'm going to give it my all for 6 months, and I'm going to take away the skills that I'm provided with. Definitely utilise that. As for guidance, one thing that I fell down on while I was at university was that, a bit like Jamie said, I thought I could just do it all without any help. I thought I was going to work really hard and get my head down and get my head in a book and go to the library and just get on with it, and then hand my MIS in at the end, and Angela turn around to me and say, yep, that's the first. Make sure you get guidance from your tutors. That's what they're there for. If you're not sure on something, or you've written something for your MIS, I know you have certain times when you can get feedback from it, but speak to your tutors. If there's something that you're struggling with on an assignment, that's what they're there for. Don't just think, do you know what, I've got this down, I'm just going to hand it in, and then it come back and you'd be really disappointed. Attend your seminars, because seminars are where you can get your more one-on-one time with a tutor, and you can get those worries and things that you need to ask, you can get them out, and hopefully you can add those to your projects and overall get a better grade. Lastly, start your MIS early. That is one thing that I would say time and time again. You think you've got loads of time, but you really don't. So when you're thinking about doing your research methods module, which I think is at the end of year 2, don't just do it because it's the sake of a module. Really think about what it is that you want to do in that next year. And yeah, you might not need to think about it right then, you might change the title slightly, but if you do the groundwork in that second semester of your second year, your third year becomes so much easier because you're not starting from scratch. Because if you come in September in your third year and you scrap everything that you did in your research methods module, it becomes really difficult. So my advice to you is, if you're in first or second year, really think about that in your research module. How are you going to speak to people? How are you going to gather that data and what you want to do it around? and just try and start as early as possible. Get your research done as early as possible, because it all takes longer than you think it's going to take. I think that is where I would definitely say my last piece of advice that I'm going to end on. So thank you very much. If anyone's got any questions, I think we're going to do them at the end. So.